Alrighty, Eagles fans, so it is Saturday, July 23rd. As of the time of this recording, we have it is around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So, yeah, a day and a half before training camp officially begins Monday, July 25th. So, that's why I got this video of my 5 Philadelphia Eagles that I have on the hot seat in 2022. So what this is going to be is my list of 5 players that I have on the hot seat going into 2022 training camp. And this specifically includes 5 players on the roster. Does not include coaching staff. If this did, I would have Jonathan Gannon on this list and Nick Sirianni, but this is just specifically players. And you guys can feel free in the comment section. Let me know who are your top 5 players you have on the hot seat going into 2022. And with that being said, let's begin. So my number 5 is Andre Dillard. Okay, so Andre Dillard was our first-round pick back in 2019. He hasn't produced anything in the 3 seasons thus far. And going into year 4, I'm not expecting much from him. And now, considering our O-line, he might see line situation. He does have a spot on the roster for now, but considering he hasn't done anything productive, and this is going to year 4 of him being a first-round pick, how much longer do I see him lasting without doing anything productive? So, but considering there weren't much expectations and pressure on him going into the season, the more so pressure's on the other guys, on the O-line, as opposed to Andre Dillard. That's why I have him on the lower end of this list, because there's not much pressure on him, but he's definitely on my hot seat. Okay, so my number 4, also from the 2019 draft, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Obviously, he was from that 2019 draft class as well. He hasn't produced much either. With a combination of more room on the Eagles' wide receiving core with Zach Piasco, A.J. Brown. Obviously, considering he hasn't done much anything, we're bringing in 2 guys in Brown and Pascal who have proven that they can at least contribute in offense better than Whiteside has throughout his career. Doesn't look like there's going to be much time with him left in the Eagles, if you will put it. Looks like the hourglass is ticking for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. But he's on number 4 for my hot seat because there's not much expectations going. For him, there's more expectations for A.J. Brown, for Zach Piasco to possibly pick up another deal after this season, Devontae Smith and those guys. But considering he hasn't done much of anything and there's more wide receivers there, I got to consider him on the hot seat, man. Might not even make it through the preseason. Time will tell. Okay, number 3. Now, this is someone who actually has contributed, but there's more pressure on him considering he did get re-signed during the offseason. That is on the defensive line, Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett. Obviously, he's been a disappointment these last couple of years. Been averaging more penalty yards than sacks. Now, he has contributed a little bit for us on the D-line at times. His career high was recording the fumble his rookie year, forced by Brandon Graham in Super Bowl 52 on Tom Brady. However, Barnett hasn't really done much since then. It hasn't provided much of a case for keeping his spot on the roster. Despite the fact that he's been re-signed, we're going into the season as fans worried about him being on the D-line and him being back. We're worried that we're going to keep giving up more penalties with him. And for that right there, I got to consider him on the hot seat right here. I mean, you had Jordan Davis is now there on the D-line through the draft. If Barnett doesn't contribute, Jordan Davis could shows his promise that he could be an easy replacement for Derek Barnett. We could try to pull off a trade for him. So he's definitely on the hot seat to stop with the penalties and actually live up to his hype or be gone. Now, my final 2 are both in this exact order, a first-round pick and a second-round pick from a recent draft in our history. So, let's get to it. Number 2, Jalen Reagor. Considering he is a first-round pick and he was picked over Justin Jefferson, and considering Justin Jefferson has done significantly better in his first 2 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings than Jalen Reagor has done with the Philadelphia Eagles. And now, considering Devontae Smith outperformed him last year in his rookie season, and considering now A.J. Brown is the number one wideout, the seat's getting a little hot right there for Jalen Reagor. He's got to prove that he can do something besides fumble punt returns and muffle punt returns, drop passes. It's Jalen Reagor's time to actually show he can do something and actually have at least, at minimum, a spot on the roster. Because if you get A.J. Brown out there doing his thing, Devontae Smith's doing his thing year two, Zach Pascal's doing solid. Oh, not to mention Quez Watkins is another one who's outshined Reagor thus far. These guys are at least contributing, and Jalen Reagor isn't. It could be time to wave the white flag with Jalen Reagor, so to say. There's a lot of pressure on him to at least do something to save his job. Now, number one, you probably know who this is. I kind of gave away a hint at it. That is Jalen Hurts. Now, while Jalen Hurts last year performed better than the other guys on this list, the reason he's number one on the hot seat is because there's a lot of question marks surrounding him on whether or not, hey, he can actually lead an NFL team, number one. We've seen like all the different stories from Derek Gunn with the 7-on-7 practice, that the Eagles aren't fully comfortable with him being their starter was what came out of that. We know he has to improve as a passer. And considering Howie Roseman, shout out to Tone DeShields from Chalk It Up Sports, because he brought up an interesting point in one of his recent live streams call-in live streams that I was on. He said that because Howie has 2 first-round picks next year, he could be using one of those picks to possibly draft a quarterback if he's not happy with Jalen Hurts' performance this year. So that's another reason he's on the hot seat. Because of the concerns about whether or not he can be the guy long-term, addition to us having 2 first-round pick next year, which they might consider on a quarterback if things don't work out. And not to mention, he's got the weapons around him, so he doesn't have any excuses if things don't work out. So think about all that pressure on Jalen Hurts right there with all those factors. Because he's got the most pressure on him out of these guys on this list, that's why I got him at the top of my hot seat list. Because he's going to have to prove, hey, that he can be the guy, or else we could consider replacing him next year. And considering he has no excuses this time around, he's got to deliver, or else he could be gone. So that's why I got him a number one on my hot seat. So that's my list right there. And everyone that watched, thank you for watching. I stated earlier again, you feel free to give me your top 5 Eagles you have on the hot seat headed into 2022. If you haven't done so already, drop a like to help out with the algorithm. They'll push it out there for others to enjoy. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, do me a simple favor. Hit the subscribe button, that notification bell, so you're notified when I upload a new video. And have a wonderful, safe Saturday night. If you do plan on going out later, do so safely. If you're going to go out during, call an Uber or a taxi or a Lyft, or have a designated sober driver. Stay safe doing so. Nicky Steve signing off. I'll see you for my next vid.